So design of gates for transmitting the power. How many resources are we have for transmitting the power? Generally, as you have already aware of about the power transmission system. So generally, transmit the power. What are the resources we have? Resource is nothing but through what devices, through which what devices we can transmit the power. To power transmit, we have the source. One is the belt drive. Please mute yourself. Another we have chain drive. Third one we have rope drives, and fourth one is a gears. Okay, to transmit the power or torque or motion or velocity, what it may be, we have four ways: belt drives, chain drives, rope drives, and gear drives. So among the four, now we are studying about the gates. So among the four, the gate drives are having the best advantages as we compare with the other three. Because see here, to utilize the other three, there are some restrictions. Restrictions are nothing but to use the belt drive, we have to maintain certain distance between the pulleys. This distance should not exceed longer and should not come closer. This is the one restriction. If it is exceeded the distance, so what happen? There will be a belt to belt contact. Otherwise, as the speed increases, due to centrifugal force, the belt is going to move outward direction, and the slip phenomena is going to generate. As the pulley gets closer, too closer, so again the slip phenomena will generate here. So that is one restriction. Only on standard distance we have to maintain based on the diameter of pulley. So if you see the chain drive is okay, exact velocity we can transmit, but the distance between the pulleys are decreases. There again there is a disadvantage. The disadvantages. So that is the one restriction for the chain drive. Rope drive is for the rope drive, special groups are required, and the same phenomena what we discuss in the belt drive. So belt drive and rope drive both are same manner, but there is somewhat differences. So as the distance increases or otherwise the distance decreases between the pulleys, so again that is not going to transmit the exact velocity or exact power or exact torque. And coming to the gears, so gears, if you transmit the power from here to here, you can transmit exact whatever torque is generating here, same amount of torque you can transmit. And whatever the distance is, if you want to decrease the distance, within the small space, you have to transmit the torque. So like this also, you can transmit the torque with exact velocity ratio. So because this is the reason these gears are known as a positive displacement drives. These gears are known as positive displacement drives. So because these gears are having the some advantages over the other transmission systems, so this is the uh, what we can call best source to transmit the powers. So before starting this unit, just I want to show some animation video about the gears. So see here.
What is gear? Toothed wheels are known as gears. which are matched together and transfer the motion between two shafts, in which one is a driver gear and other one is a follower gear. As we know that slipping of a belt or rope is a common fact in the transmission of motion or power between two shafts.
Okay, so this is a so that was a small video clip for the understanding how the gear is going to attach and how the motion is transmitted. Okay, so friction wheel. Already this one also you have aware about the friction wheel. The friction wheel is nothing but one kind of disc. On the disc, the surface roughness is there. It means friction material is coated. So in the friction wheels, the motion and power transmitted by the gates is kinematically equivalent to that of transmitted by the friction wheel, otherwise disc. So here two wheels are there, one A wheel, one is the B wheel. So A wheel is mounted on driver shaft, this one is the driver shaft. Power shaft which is carrying the power or torque, and this is the follower shaft. Okay, so this friction wheel coated with the uh, friction material, nothing but there is some roughness, rough work is rough surface is there, and these two rough surfaces are pressed against each other. Now when the power shaft transmitting the power from the shaft to A wheel, so the A wheel is going to rotate. Now because of pressing against to each other and the surfaces having the roughness, so the power is going to transmitted to the B wheel in opposite direction. How long it is going to move, it is going to rotate. So see here, the A wheel is transmitting the power from A to B wheel. So while it is transmitting, some tangential force is creating on the B wheel, that is the here. So how long the B is going to rotate? This tangential force should not exceed the friction force. So till that time the power is transmitting to the A wheel to the B wheel. If this tangential force exceeding this friction force, so there will be a slip phenomena will going to generate. To overcome this disadvantage, what is the disadvantage here? As the speed increases, here tangential force is exceeding the friction force, exceeding the friction force. So because of this reason, what happening here, slip phenomena is going to introduce it. So because to overcome these slips, here what we are doing here, we are generating some, we are making some, what we call this one, projections. That projections are called here teeth. So these projections are allowed to sit in the recess of the other wheel. So projections are we are making on a driver, and recess are we are making on a follower. So these projections are going to sit in the recess of the follower. Nothing but teeth are going to sitting in the recess of the other follower gate. So because of this reason, what happening, even though the tangential force increases exceeding the friction force, the power is transmitting, torque is transmitting here. So in this manner, the gears design of, sorry, that gears topic is emerged from the friction wheel. Okay. Now see here some few points are there. Kinematically, the friction wheel with the less amount of speed and gear tooth are identical. This point you have to remember. Kinematically, the friction wheel with low speed and gears are identical, because whatever the power transmitting, that is kinematically equivalent to the friction wheels. That is the statement here. And because the slip phenomena is happening in this friction wheel. So the reason the friction wheel is applied to only low speeds. So with the friction wheel, the gears topics are going to emerge. Okay, so that's the reason the basic topic friction wheel insert in this topic. Now coming to the classification. Before classification, some advantages I want to show about the gear wheels. So from the gears, the power transmitting or torque transmitting going to done with exactly nothing but they transmit exact velocity ratio. First point, exact velocity ratio is going to achieve with the gear drives. Now second advantage is larger amount of power can be transmitted. Amount of power can be transmitted. Third point is the it has high efficiency, and fourth one is the it is a reliable service, and fifth one is it is a compact layout. Now coming to the disadvantages, since the manufacturing of the gears requires special tools and equipment, so therefore the cost is gears are very high as compared with the other transmitting devices. Now coming to the classification of gears. So coming to the classification, this classification already you studied in the kinematics of machinery. Just repeat once. I want to repeat again. First one is gears are classified based on the position of their axis. So see here, this is the axis of the gear. So this is the axis of the gear. This is the axis of the gear. This is the axis of the gear. So based on position of the axis, the gears are classified. So the position of the axis are here three categories: parallel, intersecting, and non-intersecting, non-parallel. Three categories are there. If the axis of the gears are parallel to each other, parallel to each other means this is the one gear, this is the second gear, both axes are parallel to each other. So I am drawing here separately. This is the axis of the one gear, this is another gear. So both axes are parallel to each other. So that is the comes under this classification. Intersecting means you can see here in the bevel gear, these two are going to intersect at this point. So this is the position of the gear axis here. Non-intersecting means here neither axes are going to parallel and neither it is going to intersect. So here you can see the axis is not going to making parallel with the this gear, neither it is going to intersecting. So these gears are classified based on the position of the axis. So parallel axis gears examples are here listed here. One is a helical gear, one more is a spur gear is there. Spur gear, helical gear, double helical gears are the example for the parallel axis. So in these gears, the gear axes are always parallel to the each other. Now intersecting, so bevel gear is the best example for the intersecting gears. Now spiral gears, worm and worm wheel, rack and pinion, these are all the non-intersecting, non-parallel axes. What are those? Again I am writing. Spiral gear, worm wheel and worm gear, and rack and pinion. So these are the example for the non-intersecting, non-parallel axis of the gears. So this is the one of the classification based on the axis of shaft. So this is another classification of the gear, that is based on velocity of the gears, peripheral velocity of the gears. The gears are again classified low velocity, medium velocity and high velocity. So though the gears are having less than 3 meters per second, that is a low velocity gears. Low velocity gears nothing but speed reduction is possible with the low velocity gears. So low speed so larger speed reduction is required where, so there that gears are comes under the this low velocity gears. So speed reduction means worm and worm wheel. If you take worm and worm wheel means I'm drawing here. This is the worm wheel and this is the worm gear. Okay, so power is transmitted coming from the worm gear and transmitting to the wheel. So here the larger what is the high torque is carried here and low torque is going to transfer here. So larger power is reduced here. Such type of gears are known as a low velocity gears. So it is defined with the help of the less than 3 meters per second. That gears are referred as a low velocity. And medium velocity means here the velocity for the gear having the 3 to 15 meter per second, that is medium, and the high velocity is nothing but more than 15 meter per second, that is treated as a high velocity of the gear. So according to the type of gearing, so type of gearing here: internal gearing, external gearing, rack and pinion. So see here, external gearing means the position of the gears, how the positions are here. How the gears are assembled here, one gear over the another gear. So these type of gearings are referred as a external gearing. And most of our vehicles, automobiles, okay, these are all the application you can find the external gearing. And internal gearing is, this is the one, see here, one gear is inside the another gear. So here this kind of application we can find in our wristwatches. So in that the gear is inside the another gear, and the power, whatever the power is carried by the this gear or this gear, so both are rotating in the same direction. Please mute yourself. Somebody is making noise over. So rack and pinion. So rack and pinion is the one type of special attachment, this one, because pinion is having the definite diameter and rack is having the indefinite, I mean infinity diameter. So this is the, here it is not appearing. The gear which is having the infinity diameter, that is referred as a rack. That is referred as a rack, and the gear is having some definite diameter, that is referred as a pinion. So with this rack and pinion mechanism, so we can transmit the rotary motion into oscillatory motion or oscillatory motion into rotary motion. That is the one advantage here. So before the terminology, one more type of system is there. Uh, what is that? Okay. So terms used in a gears. So this one also you have aware about the terminology. So before starting this one, just I want to show one small video clip. This is the addendum circle passing over the all teeth. Dedendum circle, see here at the from the root it is passing. pitch circle, it is an imaginary circle. Clearance, from the blue line to yellow line you can find the clearance. So this radial distance, radial height is known as addendum. The radial depth from the green color line to blue color line, that is dedendum. This is the total working depth. Top land, face flank, face width, tooth thickness, tooth space. So see this tooth thickness, tooth space are going to measure along the pitch circle. How it is measuring? This pitch also measuring along the pitch circle. This is a pitch, and the circle whatever the passing over the pitch, circular pitch. Remember, Babu? Okay. So terminology. This terminology in the first unit also we use some terminology related to this spring. So that terminology in every unit we have the terminology. So being a mechanical engineer, you should perfect the about all terminology. What is called what, where it is located, what is the benefit of that. These are the things you have aware. Okay. So the terminology pertaining to this gas is very going to play a vital role in designing the gas. So one by one, if we discuss, first one is the pitch circle. So pitch circle is an imaginary circle. So where is the pitch circle here? Let's wait and so this is the pitch circle. It is an imaginary circle. So whatever the motion we are giving, that motion we can expect how the motion is transmitting, how the meshes of the teeth are going to happen. We can expect with through the this pitch circle. The next one is a pitch circle diameter. Pitch circle diameter means this circle diameter, this pitch circle, this diameter referred as a pitch circle diameter, and the gears are going to specified with this pitch circle diameter. So size of the gear is going to specified with the help of this pitch circle diameter and the pitch point. The pitch point is nothing but it is a common point of contact between the two pitch circles. It means when the two gears are in a contact, so these are the two gears means I am representing with the help of pitch circle. So when these two gates are in a mesh, so there is a point of contact between the two pitch circles. This point is known as a pitch point. This pitch point is also going to plays vital role in design of gates. Okay, and the next one is a pitch surface. So pitch surface is nothing but if we project the one line, if we project the one line, so that forms when surface. So the surfaces when in contact, that is a pitch surface contact, and the surfaces are referred as a pitch surfaces. And pressure angle. pressure angle. So just now I said the pitch point is going to play a vital role in designing the gauge. So to define the pressure angle also with the help of pitch point is going to it is defining. So pressure angle is nothing but it is the angle between the two lines. What are those two lines here? The two lines are common normal and common tangent. So common normal is nothing but when two teeth are engaged at a particular point. So I am drawing here. This is the teeth is contacting here. This is the one teeth. This is another teeth. Okay, their teeth are contacting in this manner. So here at this point the teeth are in a contact. Okay, so these teeth are in a contact. This point the pitch circle is passing here. Two pitch circles. Okay, it means here particular this point pitch circle are contacting here, and in same manner tools are going to contact here. So if we draw one tangent line through the two pitch circles, and if we draw the common normal to the through this point, the angle whatever is subtended here, that angle is referred as a pressure angle. It is denoted by pi. So generally for design purpose, the pressure angle is taken the values 14 and half and 20 degrees. Only these 2 degrees are going to taken for the design purpose. Remember, pressure angle 14 and half and 20 degrees. Again, based on these angles, pressure angle, system of T's are going to classify. Further, we will go discuss. Okay. And the addendum. So just now we have seen what is addendum. So addendum is nothing but it is a radial distance. So see here in the figure, the addendum is appearing here. It is a radial distance from the pitch circle to the addendum circle. So this distance is referred as a addendum, and addendum is nothing but the distance from the pitch circle to the lower portion of dedendum circle, that is referred as dedendum. Okay, and addendum circle is nothing but it is a circle passing through over the gay teeth. Dedendum circle is nothing but it is passing through the roots of the teeth. That is a dedendum circle. And circular pitch. Circular pitch is nothing but, see here, pitch is nothing but distance between the two adjacent teeth is referred as a pitch. In same manner, if we draw the one same circle, this referred as a circular pitch. So this is denoted by capital P suffix C. The mathematical equation for the circular pitch is pi d by t. Okay, so this is one you have to remember always, being your mechanical engineering students, circular pitch. And what is the mathematical form of circular pitch? You have to remember Vc equal pi d by t. You have to remember this is a basic equation. Okay, where d is the pitch circle diameter and t is the number of teeth on the teeth. And another definition is a diametral pitch. Diametral pitch is defined by the P suffix D, and it is the ratio of number of teeth to the pitch circle diameter, that is referred as a diametral pitch. Module is the ratio of another one terminology module. It is denoted by small m. Its mathematical equation is it is the d by t, reciprocal of pitch circle diameter. So module is the ratio of diameter, pitch circle diameter to the number of teeth. So see here PC equal pi d by t. So from the d by t relation we can write PC equal pi into module. Don't consider the small m as a meter. Small m is a module in design of gears. Remember this point. So with this module relation we can write also, we can this PC we can also write as a PC equal pi m. Okay, face of the tooth. So what is the face here? The top line of the, the face of the tooth is between the top line and flank. This portion is referred as the face. This face of the tooth is always lies above the pitch circle. The flank is lies always below the pitch circle. See here you can find the flank. Okay, and top land is the topmost portion of the teeth referred as a top land, and its width is referred as a face width. Here you can find the face width. And clearance is nothing but it is the distance between these here, between these two circles is referred as a clearance. Okay, now what is this circle? This circle is a working depth circle. So when the teeth is going to contact, so other teeth is going to inserted up to here. So the rest of the portion from here to here is the clearance, and the engagement of the teeth from the here to here is referred as a working depth. Okay, so working depth we can also call as a sum of addendum plus dedendum. If we add these two, that is referred as a working depth. Working depth is nothing but adding the addendum plus dedendum, that is a total working depth. So these are the few terminology related to the gates. So you people must perfect with this terminology. So terminology can also ask for the short answer question and also ask for the long answer question in the combination of other question. So in the design of gears, coming to the main topics, this terminology will going to play a vital role. If you not remembrance of this terminology, you cannot understand the question also. So that's the reason you have to perfect with the questions. This terminology. Now law of gearing. At the beginning, I was telling about with the gears constant exactly whatever the velocity is there, that exact velocity is going to achieve by the gears. So what is that velocity, exact velocity ratio? That thing, but see here. The common normal at a point of contact between the pair of teeth must always pass through the pitch point. So when it is passing in always, every time of contacting of teeth, meshing of the teeth, the common normal always passing through the pitch point. Otherwise, point of contact between the pair of teeth, then only exact velocity ratio is going to achieve. So this phenomena is referred as a law of gearing. See here, the line here T and T is referred as a common tangent line. And the normal line is nothing but here M and N here. MN line is a normal line. So these dotted lines are the pitch circles. This is a pitch circle. Pitch circle. So these two pitch circles are going to contact takes place here. So here the tooths are going to taking contact place. At this point, the normal, see here at this point, we are drawing one line perpendicular to the tooth surface, that referred as a normal line. To this line we are drawing the one perpendicular line, that is referred as a tangent line. So otherwise this tangent also considered here in this manner. Okay, when the point of contact is going to move shifted to here at the pitch circle point. So in this diagram, the common normal point, see here, this common normal point is, we are drawing with here at the point of tooth contact. We are drawing in this manner. This normal line is passing through the 2 points. One is the pitch contact point and one is the pitch point. Through these 2 points, it is passing over. In every case, means this is the first case when first two teeth are engaged. In second case, second two teeth are going to engage, because the gear is continuously, tooths are engaging and disengaging. So every engagement of every teeth, the common normal line is passing through these 2 points. So if this happens for every time, that is nothing but exact velocity ratio is achieving, nothing but that is the law of gearing here. Okay. Forms of teeth. So basically, forms of teeth nothing but the shape of the teeth is how it is going to generate it. That is based on the so that is going to achieve with the help of these two topics. This already you studied in the engineering drawing for the when construction of engineering curves, cycloidal curve, epicycloidal curve, hypocycloidal curve, involute curve. These are the things you are already aware about these topics, these titles. So that curves we are using as here to define the shape of the teeth. So here we have only two forms of teeth here. One is a cycloidal teeth and another one is a involute teeth. So what is cycloidal here? Cycloid is nothing but the curve traced by a point on a circumference of the circle which rolls without slipping on a fixed straight line. So that is a cycloid here. So involute nothing but the involute curve is a circle is a plane curve generated by the point on a tangent which rolls on the circle without slipping or by a point what is this trod by the straight without slipping that is referred as a involute. So see this is the one involute shape how the teeth is going to generated. Okay, so based on this by utilizing the curve we are forming the teeth shapes. So some differences are there for the cycloidal gates and involute gates. So this difference is very important for the 2 marks short answer questions. So cycloidal gates, if we discuss, so since the cycloidal teeth have wider flank, so therefore cycloidal gates are stronger than the involute gates for the same pitch. Due to this reason, cycloidal teeth are preferred specially for the cast teeth. So for cycloidal teeth are having the wider flank. So there's a reason here the teeth are comparing with the involutes that's more stronger. This is the one advantage of the cycloidal. And coming to the involute gear, the most important advantage of the involute gear is that center distance for the pair of involute teeth can be varied within the limit without changing the velocity ratio. This phenomenon is not happening with this cycloidal gear. It means the cycloidal gear is having its own advantage. This is having the special own advantage. So we can vary the central distance of the gates by maintaining the constant velocity ratio. This one is not going to achieve by the cycloidal. And here comparing with the strength wise, the gates are not having the strength wise the gate teeth are not strong with the compare with the cycloidal gates. And involute gates are contact takes place between the convex and concave surfaces, whereas involute teeth are having the only convex surfaces in contact. This condition results in less wear in cycloidal teeth gates as compared to the involute. So because cycloidal teeth is going to form with the two type cycloidal gates are going to generate with the two type of curve. What is that? Epicycloidal curve and hypocycloidal curve. Epicycloidal curve for the face and hypocycloidal curve for the flank. So every gate is having the face and flank. Just now you have seen what is face and what is flank. So the above portion of the pitch circle is the face and the bottom portion of the pitch circle that is the flank. So the cycloidal teeth is going to utilize the two curves, epicycloidal curve, hypocycloidal curve, and forming the teeth. So because of this reason, the less in wear of the teeth for the cycloidal curve as compared with the involute curve, because involute curve is only using the involute only one curve. And coming to the involute gates, Involute gears are the pressure angle from the start of the engagement to the teeth and the end of the engagement is constant. The pressure angle for the involute gears are constant from the engagement to the disengagement of the teeth. Means throughout operation, engagement and disengagement, throughout of operation, the pressure angle is constant for the involute gears. Where we can, if we see in the involute cycloidal tooth, the pressure angle is maximum at the beginning of the engagement and maximum at the beginning of the engagement and zero at the pitch point and end of the engagement again maximum. It means pressure angle is going to vary from beginning to end. So that is the variation we can find in the cycloidal tooth profile. There is no variation for the involute tooth profile in the pressure angle. So what happens here? Increasing and become maximum and decreasing. Because of this reason, there is no smoothing of the gates. So that's the reason some disadvantages we can find through the pressure angle point of view for this cycloidal tooth profile. This one. And cycloidal gears are interference does not occurs at all. So here one interference topic is there. So that interference is not going to occurs at any cost in this cycloidal tooth profile. And here face and flank of the involute teeth are generated by the single curve and the cycloidal here we discuss here already double curve, that is epicycloidal hypocycloidal, so are required for face and flank respectively. Here interference is going to occur. See this topic, involute gear profiles. System of gearing. Please mute yourself, Babu. So system of gear teeth. Just now I said one thing. Based on the pressure angle, the gear system is going to divided. So that is the system of gear teeth. So system of gate is here. Here we have three system of gate is. One is a 14 and a half. So 14 and a half is nothing but pressure angle here. By taking the pressure angle help, the system of gearing are divided here. The 14 and a half composite or full depth involute system, 20 degrees full depth involute system, and 20 degrees sub involute system. So these three systems you have to remember about. So these three systems having the different specifications. So based on these specifications, the system of gearings are categorized. So this one you have to remember at any cost. For 14 and of composite full depth unit system, addendum is one module. So this small m referred as a module, not meter. Okay, m means module. Module means it is the ratio of diameter, pitch circle diameter to the number of teeth on a gear. Okay, so this is the meaning of M. So addendum value for the 14 and a half full depth unit system 1 module, dedendum value 1.25, working depth 2 module, minimum total depth 2.25, tooth thickness, minimum clearance, fillet radius at root. These are all specifications you have to remember. So in design of spur gear, simply the question will ask design a spur gear for 14 and a half composite system and this much of torque is transmitting means the question is given like that. So here your duty to remember all the things, write the equations, nothing but these values, and substitute the module value here, get the answers. Okay. Now 14 and of composite system is general use for general purpose gates, and it is having a stronger composite system as comparing to the others. Okay. And special mechanisms are taken to generate the this type of forms. So generally nothing but to generate the gear, milling operation and stub operations generally we adopt. So based on that, these three forms are going to manufacture. It means to manufacturing these three types of forms by maintaining these parameters, the tools are going to form. Okay. Interference. Just now we have seen in comparison between the what is that cycloidal and involute tooth profile, interference does not occurs at all. One point we have seen in the comparison. So interference is nothing but interference is nothing but when the tip of the tooth is going to undercut the root on the another meeting gear. Nothing but see here, here two gears are there. One is a gear A. This is the gear A and this is the gear B. So gear A is going to touch the root of the gear A teeth. Gear A teeth is going to touch the root of the another gear teeth. So this is the teeth. This is the teeth. So this teeth is going to touching the root of the another gear. So this phenomena is referred as a interference. So what happens if the interference occurs? So if interference occurs in a gearing systems, what happens? Power is going to loss. Whatever the torque we are transmitting from the engine to the wheels, that is going to be our loss, and material, the gear is going to break here. So that reason material is going to loss. Okay, these are all the things are going to associate with the interference. So to avoid the interference, minimum radius we have to maintain here. So it means if we decrease this radius, pitch circle radius from this point of view and from this point of view, so somewhat we can avoid the interference. So how much that particular value? So that limiting values are here listed here. So these relations you have to remember to avoid the interference. Another condition is there, interference is only be avoided if the point of contact between the two teeth is always on the involute profile if both teeth. In other words, interference only can be prevented if the addendum circle of the two meeting gates cut common tangent to the base circle between the point of tangency. So if we design the gates in such manner, so we can avoid the interference. Okay, so whenever we are designing the gears, we have to remember this point of view. The gear should be designed in such a manner overcoming the interference phenomena. So this is another relation, minimum number of teeth we have to maintain on a pinion to avoid the interference by doing the number of experiments, and we are getting the some standard results that are the this is the standard results. These are the standard results. So minimum number of teeth we have to maintain on the pinion for the system of gears. So system of gears are here 14 and of composite, 14 and of full depth, 20 degrees full depth and 20 degrees step system. So for this system of gears, so minimum number of teeth how much we have to maintain. For this 12, for full depth unit 14, 32, 18, 14. From this box you can expect gate answer question Babu. How many number of teeth we have to maintain to avoid the interference on 20 degrees full depth unit system means how much the answer, the option will be given in the exam. So from this table regularly you can find the gate questions. That much of the importance this table is having Babu. Remember this one. for 4 different types of system of gear, what are the minimum number of teeth we have to maintain? Okay, 12, 32, 18, 14. In this manner we have to remember. Okay, another relation is here to maintain number of teeth on a pinion to avoid the interference. This is a relation. This is an empirical relation you have to remember, where AW is the addendum circle radius and nothing but one constant value, and G is the gear ratio. Gear ratio may be TP by TG. Here it is listed TP by TG, other DG by DP. Otherwise we can also write NP by NG. NP by NG. Okay, so that is a gear ratio or velocity ratio also we can call, and pi is the pressure angle. So pressure angle, we have two pressure angle broadly 14.5 and 20 degrees. Okay, so with this relation also we can calculate the how many number of teeth we have to maintain to avoid the interference in the gear. And general materials are required, and that material contains what kind of property for the manufacturing of the gears. So generally we can manufacture gears with the help of metallic and non-metallic also. If we prefer the manufacturing for the metallic, cast iron, steel and bronze and cast iron alloy. So these are all things we are using for the metal side, and non-metallic is the wood and synthetic. These are all the materials we are preferring for the non-metallic. Whether it is metallic or non-metallic, so what are the properties the gear material should have? Good wearing and excellent machinability, and high toughness and high hardness of the teeth. This material should have these properties. If the material does not have in a good wearing property, we cannot cut the teeth in a proper manner. That is the reason you should have good wearing and excellent machinability. If the material is not having the machinability, the shape of the teeth we cannot generate exactly what the shape we are generating. Okay, and high toughness. If the material is not having the high toughness, so generally gear teeth are subjected to the impact loads, because continuously the gear purpose is to transmit the power. So gear teeth is always in condition, it is always subjected to the impact load because it is continuous rotation. So if the gear teeth is not having the toughness property, simply it is going to fail. What is the toughness? Toughness is nothing but ability to absorb the energy within the fracture limit. So if it is not having, suddenly it is going to break down. And tooth hardness, so tooth should have the high hardness, that property also carried. So whether it is metallic or non-metallic, this property should carried by the material whatever using for the gear manufacturing. Now this is the design considerations. While designing the gear drive, this point we have to remember in a mind. First one is the power to be transmitted, how much it is power transmitting, how much power we are giving to the gear system, that we have to remember, and speed of the gear drive also we have to remember, and speed of the driven gear and velocity ratio and center distance. Keeping these points in your mind and start the designing for the gear drives. These points. Now following requirement must be satisfied for the design of gear drives. The gear teeth should have the sufficient strength so that they will not fail under the static and dynamic loading during the normal running condition. So what is static loading? What is dynamic loading? Further you are going to get aware about this dynamic loading and static loading. So here this point you have to remember, the gear teeth should have sufficient strength to withstand from the static loading and dynamic loading under normal running condition. Gear teeth should have wear characteristics so that the life is satisfactory, and the use of space and material should be economical. So whatever designing the gear, that gear is a compact layout, that should have the compact layout, not occupy the lot of space, and a material, whatever the material you are preferring, that should be profitable to you and the customer also. In that manner you have to focus. And the alignment of the gears and deflection of the shaft must be considered, because they affect on the performance of the gear. So alignment, while we are designing the gears, nothing but two gears. If you manufacture gear, purpose is to always engage and disengage, means both are always in a assembled condition. So if the proper alignment of not happen between the teeth, so there will be deflection, so that will going to decrease the performance of the gear. Nothing but exact power transmission, whatever it may be, velocity ratio, torque, whatever is there, this is not going to achieve. And the lubrication of the gears very must here. So if the proper lubrication is not there, so there is no smooth operation between the gears, and the gear is going to fail. Nothing but the gear teeth are going to, scratches are going to generated because of crushing, and there will be gap between the teeth to teeth, and there will be vibration and noise are going to generate between the gears when they are in a mesh. Okay. So this is the beam strength of the gear Lewis equation. So tomorrow we'll discuss about this topic.